Welcome to Small Arms Solutions. Today we're looking at a Patriot Ordnance Factory rifle, the model Puritan. This is a beginner's gun or a entry-level gun into the shooter who wants a high-quality Patriot Ordnance Factory rifle model P400. This does have many of the features of the P400, but it's a much more basic package. And I tend to like more simple myself, but it does have many parts that are Patriot Ordnance Factory. President's Frank DeSama, his signature is in a lot of these components that make up this rifle. So let's take a look from butt to muzzle. First part we're going to look at is the CTR stock assembly mag pull. Excellent, lightweight. We also have a Mo pistol grip. We do have also a mag pull larger trigger guard. We have an ambidextrous selector lever which is also manufactured by POF. KNS anti-lock pins, which hold in the POF manufactured trigger mechanism. We do have a standard A2 type lower receiver. It's made of a forging, 775 T6. Traditional forward assist, traditional fire cartridge case deflector. The signature of all POF guns is God Bless America, and it's laser etched on the ejection port cover. The bolt carrier we're going to take a look at in a minute much more closely. The opposite side, again, this is standard mil spec, but you can see that the bolt catch has actually been enhanced. This has been elongated here to make it much more easy to actuate. Selector lever again. They utilize the Magpul Mo handguards, which I have to say, this is a very comfortable feel. It's sort of like the old M16A1 triangular handguards. The flat sits much better in your hand than the round does. So I'm actually quite fond of this. And in the front here, I've actually added onto here the ARMS 40L folding backup sight. That's just mounted onto the front sight base. Again, the front sight base has a mil standard 1913 rail. It's pinned in place, so it's not going anywhere, so there will be no gas leakage issues. You also have a bayonet plug. And on the bottom, you have a QD socket. On the end is a standard A2 style compensator. The barrel itself is manufactured from ordnance steel, QPQ treated, nitride. And we're taking a look at the inside now. Mounted on the top of the rifle actually are some DI optic sights. The optical sight here is the Raven 1. This is actually a red dot similar to the aim point. Extremely durable, reliable. This actually has night vision settings. It's a push button up and down. Much easier than trying to get over to the side here to do it. You also have the same manufacturer has a 3-power magnifier. They're all mounted on ARMS throw lever mounts. Take a look at the inside. One of the main issues that piston guns have, especially ARs that are trying to be converted into a piston gun, is carrier tilt, which means because the piston operating rod is hitting the top of the bolt carrier, the rear starts pushing downward, and it damages the receiver extension or the buffer tube. Well, how Frank DeSama got around that was he extended the bottom portion of the receiver extension forward. So when the upper and lower receivers are closed, the rear of the bolt carrier is already inside the receiver extension, so there's no jumping. It keeps it straight, so it eliminates the carrier tilt issue. This is an excellent enhancement for anybody who's using a piston-operated version of the AR rifle. When I say that, I mean basically an AR rifle that uses a conversion system rather than an entirely redesigned gas system. The trigger itself, I believe, is around 4.5 pounds. This is a drop-in assembly that's manufactured by POF. It's also sold as a upgrade. The trigger is excellent. It's got a very nice feel to it. It's a single stage. Those who are looking for a combat rifle or a self-defense rifle, I tend to prefer the single stage triggers. I think they're much more easy for rapid fire. I think they're more accurate for rapid fire as well. However, if you're an expert, you can do the same with the 2-stage. Just my personal opinion is I like these single stage triggers. Now we're going to take a look at the bolt carrier group. The bolt carrier itself is NP3 treated. It's made from a single piece of steel. As you can see, the impact area here, or tombstone, whatever you like to call it, it's all machined into the bolt carrier. This is excellent because you eliminate the possibility of that cracking off as long as it's heat treated properly. You have a standard chrome-plated bolt itself. But you also take a notice here to the roller cam pin. This is something else that was put out by POF. This eliminates a lot of damage that can be done to the inside of the upper receiver because of the cam pin itself. It relieves a lot of the friction by it rotating. Several other OEMs have actually used this as well. These are made in both the 5.56 millimeter carrier group as well as the 7.62 as well. Also for a DI gun, you can get these for your DI gun as long as you replace the carrier key with theirs, which has a notch cut in it so you can lift it in and out. But again, 4 assist notches. You see it's got some grooves down here. Very well made. We're going to take a close look at the gas system of the POF Puritan, which is the same gas system that's used in their P400 series. We have actually the operating rod itself. We have the piston, and we have the gas sleeve or the gas valve. This gas valve has 2 positions. It has a standard for standard firing. Then it has a closed down gas port for use with a sound suppressor. Very simple gas system. And also the way that it was manufactured is so it only needs to use a standard buffer. It doesn't need to have an H2 buffer. South Korea's kept down quite a bit on it. Very simple, very robust. We've had quite a few rounds through this particular rifle, not a single hitch. The parts have held up perfectly. Again, these guys here are one of the premier people in the industry who actually developed a piston gun. This goes back all around the same time where the LWRC, or back then it was Leitner Weiss Rifle Company, and H&K came out with the HK 416, which at that point was called the HKM4. So these go back to the original times of when the piston or external piston left to enter the commercial market. Another very noteworthy feature to bring out for you is the E-squared technology, which is patented for Patriot Ordnance Factory. What that is enhanced extraction, which what that boils down to is in the E-chamber, right in the area where the neck of the cartridge case will be supported, there's 4 radial cuts, which allow gas to leak from the front of the cartridge case backward to push rearward on the shoulder of the cartridge case, which in turn pushes the cartridge case out of the chamber. What this does is it increases extractor reliability in 2 ways. One, that it lowers the load on the extractor spring itself, because the actual gas pushing the cartridge case breaks the seal and it pushes the cartridge case out, making the extractor probably do only 10 to 20% of the actual work. This feature, in my opinion anyways, would be beneficial on any military rifle, because most failures to extract are caused by issues with the chamber. By allowing these 4 radial cuts in there to give that extra oomph behind it, even in the worst conditions, the extraction would be vastly increased in reliability.
The POF Puritan is considered the entry-level rifle of the POF USA line, and it has an MSRP of $1,469 as opposed to their flagship rifle, which is the POF 415, which is $2,124. However, it has most of the same features and is a truly advanced external piston rifle at a very reasonable price.
And now we'll take this out to the range and see what it can do. We're going to put a few magazines through the Patriot Ordnance Factory model Puritan. It's an external piston, short stroke tappet. This is considered their entry level, which is more for somebody who is newer and doesn't want to spend the additional money for the standard models. I have to say I like simple. This rifle here is it's very simple. The standard lower receiver doesn't have a lot of bells and whistles on it, but it feels good. This the Moa handguard is awesome. Feels really good. The optics I got on here are the DI optic. I'll get a 3-power magnifier as well as a holographic sight. This particular one is the Raven 2, where it's all done by push button to increase and decrease the intensity of the light in the dot. The magazine is actually the Pro Mag roller bag. It's actually a magazine follower that actually has rollers on it. I've used this several times before and never had a problem. So let's give her a try and see how she does. feed. So the last two shots. So this rifle may not like this particular magazine. Next is the Tango Down magazine. Didn't like that particular magazine. Next is the ETS, or Elite Tactical Systems synthetic magazine, polymer magazine. This ammunition here was provided by Jeff Hoffman over at Black Hills. Jeff Hoffman is a very big supporter of not only my Small Arms Review articles, but my internet channel as well. The Puritan is a very, again, very simple, very durable, very reliable. It's quite accurate. Hope you all enjoyed the video. If you did, please select like and please subscribe. Thank you.